Right, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am filming a Sunday Reads today because it is Sunday, and these are quickly becoming my favorite videos to do. So, let's just get into it. I'm going to start with books that I'm currently reading, one that I recently finished since I last left you last week, and then some book mail that I got, that I purchased, and some from publishers, some ideas for next reads, and then that's it. What am I currently reading? As of this morning, I am halfway through Elena Knows by Claudia Piñeiro, translated by Riddle. I'm going to save my thoughts for the book until the live discussion, which is happening on this Tuesday at noon Pacific time. I'm going to be joined by the lovely Kieran from KD Books to talk about this one for an hour. So I'm posting this today on Sunday, I think, hopefully. And so there's still time to read this book. It's very, very quick, and this book is currently available on Hoopla, the app that you connect to your library. If it's on there, I think it's available if you have a library card, or maybe it's library dependent. So check there if you want to read this really quickly to join us for the live discussion, because there will be some spoilers. This is a crime mystery novel, so I don't know what happens by the end of it, but I know we're going to be talking all about it. So it's also available on Scribd as well, if you have that, or Scribed. I don't know how to say that actually, but yeah, those are two resources. You can go in there today and get it, or just buy the ebook and catch up quickly. But I'm digging it. Quick glimpse of my thoughts are that I'm digging it. I think it's good, but I'll save the rest for later. So this is this Tuesday. Join us if you are so interested. It's gonna be a fun time. And then from there, next month, near the end of the month, I'm gonna do another book club pick, and we'll read it with someone, a guest who I'll figure out at that time. But yeah, book club, first one this Tuesday. I'm hyped. Come with questions, come with thoughts, or just watch. Or you can watch after. No pressure. Very low-key, chill vibe for a book club, I would say, hopefully. And then I'm also reading David Shield's The Very Last Interview. I've been reading this for like a week, and it's like very short, so I don't know what's taking me so long. This book is funny and weird and kind of like, not auto-fictional, but it's this basically amalgamation of various questions that David Shield has allegedly been asked throughout his career. I'm unfamiliar with his work, but it's grouped into different subjects, so reading, school, speech, childhood. And so this is a really satirical and funny look at interviewing and the idea of like the presence of a writer, what we want to get from them through interview questions, and like what the blending of the personal with fiction, like the kind of lines that are played with there, and as you read more of this book, it kind of becomes clear that it seems that David Shield is using hyperbole within the question, so he's fictionalizing them to kind of get at the root of kind of a self-examination of being a writer, hints at what various interviewers are asking him, that they really want to be asking him, and he kind of puts them in here, and really what it means to be, one, a public figure, but namely a writer, and kind of weird questions that brings, and trying to talk about your work and others' work, and the kind of rude and weird questions that people ask you that are quite invasive to try to get at the understanding of your work. He doesn't give you an answer to the questions, I should say. It's just questions that kind of answer themselves, and kind of blank spaces between them. You kind of fill in the answers based on the questions that come after it. So it's a fun read, it's weird, I'll have full thoughts by the end of the month. But so here's an example of like interview questions from the section called Childhood. So it says, "You may be wary of this line of questioning, but why do you keep writing about the same material over and over? You've now written at least 2, and one could easily say more like several, books about growing up, more or less. Inevitable question, what gives? You weren't raised in a gulag or Nazi Germany or by wolves. When are you going to grow up, some might ask? Is there a sense in which your work is prima facie evidence of untreated PTSD? Is this art or repetition compulsion, if you know what I mean? Essay or therapy? If you're claiming to recall something verbatim from 50 years ago, in what sense is it accurate to call this true?" So it's this just bunch of questions that kind of tell the story. It's interesting, it's weird. I'm digging it. Also reading Jonathan Franzen's essay collection, How to Be Alone. I'm really digging this, and if you follow my channel of late, I've become, my friend Hannah said, stanzin, and that's so good. I am a stanzin. I love his work. I've read 2 of his books so far. I've read Crossroads, which I have an individual book review for, that I recently looked, and it has like 4.5K views, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's scary to know that thousands of people have watched me talk about that book. Like, what? Being on YouTube is so weird. Like, the more I'm on it, the more something's in my eye, what the hell? And I'm gonna post this. YouTube is weird. Anyways, these essays are really good. So far, they've mostly been about, again, being a writer, and also growing up with his parents and his father, who passed away from Alzheimer's, and his battle with it and his gradual degradation, and thinking about his relationship with his father. The one I'm currently reading is about the Postal Service. And so it's interesting reading these essays that are from a different time period too. These were, I think, all written pre 9/11. So it's just interesting, like getting his, oh my God, my eye. It's interesting getting his perspective on these issues. And I know his nonfiction is kind of where he gets a lot of heat for his opinions. And so I'm curious to keep going in this. I guess his nature and like climate change essays are the ones that people tend to really dislike him for. And I haven't read those yet, but I'm digging it. I can definitely tell I'll like his fiction more than I will like his nonfiction, I think, but I still think he's an excellent writer, a new favorite of mine. So good. Also, I am currently reading Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, translated by Anton. I think I was reading this last week too, and I haven't made much progress in it. I'll be quite honest, I'm not loving this collection, and I haven't really been inclined to pick it back up, so I'm gonna try maybe one or two more, maybe later, and then see if I want to DNF it. But I'm just not really vibing with these stories. I feel like I honestly don't even have much to say. They're kind of these bizarre, sometimes horrific stories that kind of look at some absurdity in reality and how the people in these stories kind of accept the absurdism and that comes up in these stories as fact. Looking at like human waste, procreation, capitalism. So taking kind of like Black Mirror-esque in how it uses this absurdism to poke fun at something or examine something in reality. So I like the premise of it, but I'm just not like loving my experience up with it. I don't know. We'll see. Finally, I was looking up top 10 lists from some favorite writers of mine, including Jonathan Franzen. And then I found this website, which I'm blanking on the name of it, but it basically gives like top 10 favorite books of different writers. And Sheila Heti was on there, who I love. And this was number 1. It's The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And I read this book, I think, freshman year of high school. And per my Goodreads, I gave it 5 stars back then. And I was inclined to see what I think of it now, that Sheila Heti says it's her favorite book, I guess. And I previously, in a previous time in my life, loved it. I think I have like an hour or so left of the audiobook, and oh my God, this book is excellent. This is making me want to be more of a classics boy going forward. My eye, oh my God. It's all about art, influence of others over each other. There's like subtle, homoerotic undertones here. Idea of beauty and what we sacrifice for beauty and how that corrupts one's soul. It's really, really good. The writing is excellent. It's so easy to read too, I found, which is kind of interesting. I feel like after reading Middlemarch, I feel like I can conquer anything now. Like classics don't seem as scary because that book has some really dense and difficult prose I found at times. And so reading something else that's a classic, I found this was like quite easier to digest. So I don't know. Loving it. Full thoughts to come later in the month, but this is so good. Oh, and also the audiobook narration by Russell Tovey. It's on Audible. We hate it. It's an exclusive, but it's one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to, like ever. His performance is so good. He does the thing where for every character he has a different and very distinct voice, and I love that. I will say I just got to chapter 12. Anyways, chapter 11 of this book though, such a goddamn slog, and I'm so mad because this book is like kind of perfect for me up until that point in which we see Dorian Gray like becoming really into art, and like it goes into the minutia of him getting into it. And so I know it's supposed to like reflect that, but it's also incredibly boring. And I looked up chapter 11, Picture Dorian Gray on Google to see what people like said about it, and everyone's like in agreement that this is like the one boring chapter of the book, but I guess it picks up again by the end of it. Excellent except for chapter 11, but that's that. So that's what I'm currently reading, and then I'll go into some books that I recently purchased. I picked up 1004 by Ben Lerner. This is the next in his trilogy of like autofiction. So I recently read Leaving the Atocha Station, and I also already have the Topeka School, but I don't have this one, and so I want to read this first, then Topeka School, but I'm excited to get more into Lerner, because Leaving the Atocha Station was fucking amazing. And then also, Lorde, the singer, in a recent newsletter that she sent out, said that she was rereading Leaving the Atocha Station for pleasure. And I'm like, wait, she has taste. She's also reading Tove Ditlevsen, or she picked up the Copenhagen trilogy, and I actually just picked up The Faces, a new novel that was published alongside her new story collection, which the publisher sent me. I bought this one. This is a novel about like, I think a writer who is starting to see like disembodied faces and voices. A searing, haunting novel of a woman on the edge portrayed with all the vividness of lived experience. Queen Lauren Euler has a blurb on here, and Rachel Kushner. I'm very excited for this, and I love these covers of all of her books. So I now have all of them. Good shit. But yeah, Lorde's reading her too, and Ben Lerner, and a recent book that I picked up called Out There by Kate Folk. It's a short story collection that she said she just read too, and I'm like, are you like, what's going on? Are we besties? Maybe we are. I also picked up this really pretty copy of this, Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. It has this really nice like blue sprayed edges, and I'm a sucker for a nice book like this. I don't know, it just looks so nice. It has like this shiny glossy cover. I saw Noelle from Noelle Gallagher. She recently picked up this edition, and I texted her and I was like, what edition did you get? And this one's from Barnes & Noble. So I went there and I got it, if you're curious as to where to get this one. This one, I don't know what it's about. I think it's about like time travel, art, love, plague. It takes a reader from Vancouver Island in 1912 to a dark colony on the moon nearly 500 years later, unfurling a story of humanity across centuries and space. And it seems like there's a lot of chapters, and it's a quite quick and like breezy short read. So I'm curious to see what she does with this. I didn't love The Glass Hotel by her, but I want to try one more, and so this will be the one that I try. So we'll see. She has really great prose, I will say. I remember that very vividly from The Glass Hotel. So next I picked up Violets by Kyong-Sook Shin, translated by Anton. He is the translator of the moment, I would say. He had 2 books on the International Booker long list, and this one just came out, and this one has very, very, very high praise from Matthew Sharapa. He said this is his favorite book of the year so far, I believe. I think this is his favorite writer, if I'm recalling correctly. I always hate when I say stuff like that, because I'm like, what if I'm wrong? And I'm just like lying. In Violets, best-selling author Kyong-Sook Shin explores misogyny, erasure, and repressed desire as the character, who's 22 and alone, desperately searches for both autonomy and attachment in the unforgiving reality of contemporary Korean society. I recently read Love in the Big City, which was translated by Anton, and I really loved it. Also looking at, but you know what's interesting? Cursed Bunny, translated by Anton, not loving as much. Not because of the translation, I don't think, just because of, I don't know, the books themselves. So I'm curious to see where I'll land on this one. We will see. And then finally, I ordered this book from the UK because I've been seeing a ton of like buzz on Twitter, mostly for it. And this book doesn't come out until 2023 in the US, but this one sounds so fucking good. I'm so excited. It's called Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt, and it has a blurb from Eliza Clark, who wrote Boy Parts, which is one of my favorite books of 2020. Is that real? Yeah. What is time, you guys? I feel like I read the book last year, but that was 2020, and now it's 2022. Holy shit. Anyways, that's so weird. Okay, anyways, this one is a queer horror novel. So it says it's a dark, unflinching haunted house novel that takes readers from the well of the literary Gothic up through Brighton's queer scene and out into the heart of modern day trans experience. So I guess the main character is trans, and there's like a haunting that's going on in this house. I hear it's very, from Eliza Clark's blurb, punk in every sense of the word. This is a debut unlike anything you've read before. I've seen high praise about this one. I love dark queer fiction, so I might pick this up next, maybe. Or another book that I have over there, but we'll see. This one sounds fucking incredible. So fascism and trauma. Let's go, girls. Next up, I have some galleys that I've received that I don't really remember what any of them are about. So let's discover it together. The first one is Pretty Baby, a memoir by Chris Belcher, out on July 12th from Avid Reader Press. This one says a queer teen rebel escapes small-town Appalachia and becomes Los Angeles' renowned lesbian dominatrix in the searing and darkly funny memoir that upends our understanding of desire, class, and power. This sounds really good, and it actually sounds similar to Melissa Febo's. I just read her craft book called Body Work, and she was also a dominatrix in her past. And so that book was all about memoir and personal narrative, so I really want to read this one, and now that I have like that kind of background of just having read that and seeing how this one does. And I like this cover. It's kind of simple, but I like it. Next, another one from Avid Reader Press. This one's out on July 5th. This one's called Human Blues by Elisa Albert. I also love this cover. She's stunning. Different, too. I really like it. This one I think is about music. Let me see. From the author of Afterbirth, whose work is... it gives blurbs, and then it says, comes an epic dive to the molten core of feminism, fame, creativity, compliance, art, commerce, idolatry, autonomy, menstrual cycles, and the fertility industrial complex. So I guess it's about a singer-songwriter named Aviva, on the eve of the release of her 4th album, is plagued by infertility. The twist, as much as Aviva wants a child, she is wary of technological conception and has poured her ambivalence into her music. As the album makes its way into the world, the shock of the response from fans and critics is at first exciting, and then invasive and strange. Aviva never wanted to be famous, or did she? Meanwhile, her evolving obsession with another iconic musician, gone too soon, might just help her make sense of things. Told over the course of 9 cycles, Human Blues is a searingly original interrogation of our cultural ideas about childbearing. It's It's also the story of a woman at a crossroads, ruthlessly questioning what she wants and what she's willing or not willing to do to get it. That sounds incredible. I don't think I had read full synopsis when I got this in the mail, but that sounds so good. And it has blurbs from Jenny Offal, Karen Russell, Lydia Davis. Okay, we'll see what's that's giving. It's quite thick. Big boy, 400 pages. So, interesting. If you read her before, let me know what you think. Next up, I have An Island by Karen Jennings. This book was on the Booker long list last year, and it's just being published now in the United States. It comes out July 5th from Hogarth. So thank you, Hogarth. It's a cute little galley they sent. A powerful novel about a lighthouse keeper with a mysterious past and the stranger who washes up on his shores. One of the blurbs says, An Island is a heart-rending psychological portrait of trauma and xenophobia and the scars left by successive corrupt governments on the people forced to endure them. Sounds good, like kind of a pacey, literary thriller-y type of book. We'll see. I'm excited for it. Next up, I have Sedating Elaine. This one's out from Knopf, I think like soon, April 12th. Oh, I guess it's already out. But I got a galley of it. Interesting. Anyways, this is Sedating Elaine by Dawn Winter. It says an exuberant dark comedy about love, grief, sex, guilt, and one woman's harebrained scheme to tranquilize her voraciously amorous girlfriend for a few days so that she might pay off her drug dealer, make soup, and finally get some peace and quiet. I think this is kind of a dark, romp, funny DWM vibe, queer, a narrator with her life in shambles, and a voice that crackles with heart and wit. Sounds like a DWM. I'm excited for it. I like this cover too. Very simple. I love yellow. One of my favorite colors. The last one that I have for y'all is also from Hogarth. It's called The Midcoast by Adam White. This one's on sale June 7th, 2022. And the blurb on this one says it's as tense and ominous as a season of Ozark, which I've not seen, but I know about. In the wake of a violent crime, a local writer begins to unravel the secrets of his small Maine town, a page-turning debut of family and class for fans of Celeste Ng's Little Fires Everywhere. It's a character-driven and suspenseful debut novel, backboned by a crime, which navigates such spiky subjects as wealth disparity, late capitalism, and what money means in America. I feel like this one sounds like it's going to be one that's adapted or something. It's giving that vibe, you know? So I guess it's a literary thriller. I love Hogarth, so I will take a stab at that one. So yeah, that's about it. I think next I'm either going to pick up Tell Me I'm Worthless, or I might finally pick up Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. I still have my Oprah's Book Club 2010 selection sticker on it from when I bought this. I think I bought it at Target when I was like 14 or something. I was young, and I'm like, what? Little old me is gonna read this big ass literary fiction book? No. But I've had it on my shelves ever since, and now I got into Jonathan Franzen as an adult. I've heard from people that gave me feedback on Jonathan Franzen's work that they say, some people say that this is his best novel, like a perfect book. It's been recommended to me. People think I'm gonna like this one. Like a few people have told me they think this one will do it for me, so I might jump into this next. It's another big, long Franzen, and I've been trying to save the rest of his books because they're so good and they just like fulfill that novelty thing that I love, you know? I'm craving one. So I'm gonna treat myself to another Franzen. We shall see. Couldn't be more different. But I'll probably start both, to be honest. Let me know what you're reading. If you'll be at the book club, let me know. I hope to see you all there. I'm very excited. So what I'm gonna do now is my partner is making pasta tonight, so we're having Italian night. I'm going to do chores and finish Elena Knows. Anyways, I hope you all are doing well. I will see you soon at the book club, and then April wrap-up will be coming, and more pods will be coming. And I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.